have like buildings that were made to house like 2 units, where they had like 19 people, 19 families, and they didn't have air shafts, and they had rats, and it was just like falling apart, really horrible condition, owned by Trinity. People had to go after them. They had a hit video somewhere. That song, taking that putting up a parking lot, Joni Mitchell song, that was written about Trinity. Somebody had like a little home gardening center in Manhattan, and Trinity like paved it over to make a parking lot because they could give them more rent. The fucking church. Yeah.
Tell me what you were saying earlier about the people that are there.
Alright, so the people,
what their agenda
let me just back up. So, people ended up here at Union Square.
We put in, and they got kicked
out. Now, they didn't have any place to go. Over the deep winter, they were going to the churches. But, like I said, OWS, we pushed them too far. It took the baptismal font. I think that was the last thing that, like, basically killed it all off. So, when those initial, like, really crazy days here, where they were, like, fucking arresting everybody and shit, they would sleep on the streets. And people have been sleeping. There has been a stable homeless population in Union Square for years. That's actually how we ended up in the station zone. Because we're not putting up with it. And I think people were taken by surprise because people got here, remember Ben and Sage, they all knew that this was an okay place to sleep. And they were like, yeah, we'll call the Parks Department. We made inroads. Like, they love us, they know us, they're not gonna fuck us over. And then the cops fuck us all over. And they would go and sleep on the streets. And they couldn't sleep here where people had always been sleeping. And they go out onto the various streets, and the cops would hunt them down with fucking dogs and wake them up. In New York City, if you're just like a regular person and you're sleeping, their policy is wake them up or get arrested. You're not allowed to sleep on the sidewalk. Normally, they don't get that involved. They wake you up, you walk away. But if you're doing that, you get a little lonesome, you get a little loopy. I had, when my kids were little, you had to wake up every 3 hours.
Well, you don't sleep. Sleep deprivation.
You don't compute, and then you get all like, you're gonna start fighting with the cops.
You get agitated.
You're ready to go. You're ready to pop. You're ready to
that was purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, they torture people like that in Guantanamo.
Right. I mean, it's not that bad here, but it was bad. I mean, they would follow us through Manhattan. I once got followed. We had this little march, and we were like, let's go down to a bank, like down there, and let's march. So we did a march, and they arrested Finn, so I got separated. So there were 4 of us. No, there were 11 people. No signs, no nothing. We were just walking, and we couldn't figure out where the rest of the march went. So we were kind of walking around. We had 4 police officers following us. And then a van shows up, and we're like, cool, they're gonna go home. No, the van starts following us, and a patrol car, and it's just 11 people walking. And we looked relatively normal. I mean, we didn't look like occupiers. And so we're walking around, people staring at us, like, what the fuck is going on here? It was like a slow motion chase, because they were just trying to fuck with us. And so anyway, at the end of all this, someone stumbled upon this court case they actually knew about beforehand, which is Met Council versus Shafar, which basically says, for political reasons, you can sleep on the sidewalk. And I gotta say, it's really restrictive and it's holding. It's like, for this march, for this action that was planned beforehand, it says, you can sleep on the sidewalk, it's in a dead neighborhood. It's not
as long as you're not more than half of the sidewalk.
Yeah, not more than half of the sidewalk. It's only gonna be 20 people. It's only gonna be 20 people. Sorry, I heard this song. It's only gonna be 20 people. There's gonna be marshals away to watch the people. It's only gonna be one night. If for political reasons, it's okay. So I'll tell you, the first night we tried this, I stayed up the whole night, fucking bird dogging, bravado.
Do you know Mother Jones?
In person?
No, I mean the history.
No.
She was very bad-mouthed, militant union organizer, like during World War I.
Yeah. I don't know what you're watching, but
bad mouth.
So Lombardo, so we have people at the Bank of America over there, we have people at Citibank, we have people at HSBC, and Lombardo was like picking people off, following people, and he was like trying so hard to find a way to fucking arrest them. And we had a teach-in, I think the night before, to tell the police that it's legal because of the court case to sleep on the sidewalk for political reasons. Okay, so Lombardo was chasing us, and he got the guy from Penn to come up. The homeless liaison from the New York City Police Department. And I was sitting right there, and he came up to me, and he was like, "Do you want to go anywhere?
Oh, sure.
Oh, do you need shelter?"
Sure.
They did that a lot.
They need a lot of shelter.
This is totally on the legit. What they were trying to do was if we said no, then they could arrest us because the policy is offer them to move or shelter or arrest them. And my answer was, I take credit for this, but it's not solely me. I have a 2-bedroom in another borough. I'm here for political reasons. And then I followed the guys as they went to everybody, and I said, political reasons, they're okay. Political reasons, they're okay. So they got Lombardo walked around.
I'm surprised. Hey, come back here. Come back here.
On the fucking phone all night, trying to find a way to arrest people.
She is a rabble-rouser. Let's get her.
He bumps people.
Yes, and he followed Luke into the bathroom. So, and he's bad. Lombardo was particularly bad. So
he'll follow who into the
he
restroom?
followed Luke. The live stream is in the men's room. It's on YouTube.
Oh my God.
And he's nuts. He's fucking nuts, and he's mean. And so anyway, he couldn't figure out a way to arrest us because we had invoked the court case and we were citing it to them. It wasn't like we were just pulling this shit out of the air. Next day, they started sleeping on Wall Street. First couple of days, everything was cool, okay? I was there, cop walks up, the sergeant, he's like, we understand you have First Amendment rights, we'll wake you up at 6:30 in the morning, it's gonna get busy. Alright, so you know what happens, fucking OWS. It becomes a fucking zoo. The sidewalk on Nassau, it's kind of...
It was people lined up, eventually they didn't fit on that one corner.
Right.
They were
in different
all
spots.
the way down the street, across by the train station.
Right.
There was like 4 or 5 different locations where people were sleeping.
Right, and Nassau was particularly troublesome because Nassau's like a 30-foot sidewalk. So they had 15 feet. They had couches. They had, they had a couch yesterday at Trinity. They had couches. They had beds. They had a lot of crap. It was a zoo. And so eventually, they had surpassed the holding in the case, which was like basically if you're quiet and you have marshals and you're not breaking any other laws, you could sleep for political reasons. But while this is happening, and then they ended up at on the Fed steps, and there've been a couple other quiet sleep for protests. But basically the idea, the community agreement for a sleep for protest was that people would behave and not for police attention and not agitate, because if you do, you go beyond the holding of this case and then people can't sleep. And since the whole purpose wasn't really political, like the whole purpose was like to let people who were being harassed at Union Square to sleep through the night. That was the idea, was we would have a sleep for protest with political, movement, so we can get away with saying it's political. But the idea was to let them sleep through the night. So the idea was that we were. Oh, don't tell the cops. So the idea was that people were going to get rest. So by agreement, the idea was that no one would really start screaming, yelling, or agitating for the protest. Now, Trinity, I will take credit. Trinity Jack was on a hunger strike, and Jack, I should admit, I guess I've said it before. Jack was taking a shower, and he's like, I'm going to sleep at Trinity. There have been a few other sleeper protests. There was one at City Hall that was okay. There was one at the UN that was okay.
The city one was okay. I was there.
Yeah, and then one person had to be de-escalated, but that was it. So.
That's right. There was a problem down there.
Yeah, but it was minor, and it was Chris, Blue Hair Chris.
Right. That's right.
But what the agreement is that the agreement was that you mellow out agitators because we want to sleep. Anyway, Jack's taking a shower. He's like, I'm gonna sleep there. So he texts me and he's like, tell people I'm sleeping at Trinity. I sent out 4 texts. Jack is sleeping at Trinity. Join him. They were targeted tweets. They were tweets. This is a Friday. Throughout the day, it starts building, and all of a sudden, it's Sleep for Protest at Trinity! Yay! But Sleep for Protest, meaning, so it's not a working group. It didn't go through the GA. Didn't go through any working groups. Didn't go through the GA. It's just like one guy saying, "I'm gonna sleep there. Join me." And other people just like responding because it was such a good idea and because it needed to be done. And part of the idea was that we wanted to put pressure not on the cops, but on Trinity.
Yeah. And wanted to highlight the hypocrisy of the church.
And especially over the weekend. And, you know, because that's when they're busy, right? So, and also the idea was, at some point with Trinity, was to not go screaming, yelling, kicking, and carrying on when going against the church, that we should go into more church-like manner, so that we're talking to them as opposed to like being occupied. And that was some of the thought process. We had, you know, Bishop George and his wife were like pressuring them, and the idea was that and it obviously didn't fucking work, but it was like to pressure Trinity in a way